They aren't ghosts, they're parasites living in your home. In early 2026, we started a project called the Global Sensory Analysis Initiative. The plan was to create a complete vibrational map of our homes. We were using brand new scanning tech to listen to the unique hum of building materials, a way to get an unprecedented look at structural integrity. But the first data sets showed us something else, something we thought was an error. There were faint, synchronized vibrations deep inside the structures themselves. For months, we called them ghost signals, and frankly, treated them as a new kind of paranormal event, which of course was a paradox. Science doesn't do ghosts. There's never been any proof. And yet, the data was right there. Something was humming inside the very bones of our houses, and it wasn't the pipes. We were wrong. This isn't a ghost story. What the 2026 scan found isn't paranormal. It's biological. Section 1. Project Chimera and the New Kingdom of Life. The discovery of these ghost signals led to a secret multinational research group, Project Chimera. Its only job was to find out what was making that sound. The teams used everything they had, advanced lasers, acoustic sensors, to build a picture of the phenomenon. They thought they'd find a bug in the software, maybe some weird, undocumented mineral resonance. What they found was life. The vibrations weren't just noise. They weren't echoes of the dead. They were the biological signatures of a huge, undiscovered organism living entirely inside solid matter. And when I say organism, I'm being generous. We think this might be an entirely new kingdom of life, a form of silicon-based biology that evolved right alongside us, completely unseen. We've given it a temporary name, Lithophaga domesticus. It's from the Greek lithos for stone and phago, to eat. A fitting name. This thing doesn't just live in our homes. It consumes them to just live in our homes. It consumes them. It becomes them. But unlike its distant marine cousins, the little mollusks that bore into rock, this creature doesn't just drill a hole. It merges with the material on a molecular level. It's not a creature in your walls. The walls are the creature. Section 2. The biology of the impossible. Lithophaga domesticus is nothing like the creature. Lithophaga domesticus is nothing like life as we know it. For all intents and purposes, it's a resonant symbiote. It doesn't have cells in any way we recognize. Instead, it exists as a complex, crystalline matrix woven into the molecular structure of whatever it's infesting. Concrete, drywall, wood, even steel. It builds massive, interconnected networks. Think about it. A single house might have a dozen separate organisms competing for space. But an entire city block? That could be a single distributed mind. A skyscraper could be one single colossal entity. Its steel skeleton the spinal cord of a predator 1,000 feet tall. So how does it live? It eats energy. Specifically, the low-grade thermal and kinetic energy all around it. The warmth from the sun hitting a wall, the tiny vibrations of your footsteps, the stress on a beam, the hum from the wires in the wall. That's its food. It's a slow eater, but it converts that ambient energy with terrifying efficiency. Those ghost signals we first picked up? That's its brain activity. The quiet, rhythmic pulses are its thoughts, its senses, its consciousness, vibrating through the bones of your house. Section 3. A scientific explanation for the supernatural. Once you accept the existence of Lithophaga domesticus, decades of paranormal events suddenly have a chilling, biological explanation. Every ghost story you've ever heard isn't a myth. It's a misinterpretation of this creature's life. You know that cold spot in a room? That's the organism feeding. It's actively pulling thermal energy from the air to power itself. The chill is real, but the cause isn't some lonely spirit. It's a hungry parasite. Those faint whispers, the sound of footsteps when no one's there, that's its internal network talking. Data passing through the structure at frequencies just at the edge of what you can hear. Sometimes, these vibrations make the building resonate in ways that sound unnervingly familiar. And that feeling of being watched? That's one of its most disturbing features. It's incredibly sensitive to its environment. Your body heat, the tiny bioelectric field from your own nervous system, to its slow, quiet world, you're a major event. It feels you move from room to room. It isn't watching with eyes. Its entire body is one giant sensory organ, and you are a blazing light inside it. What about poltergeists? Objects that move, doors that slam. It's not an angry spirit. It's a defense mechanism. Over time, the creature can store kinetic energy in its crystalline structure. If it feels threatened, or if it's fighting another organism, it can release that energy in a focused blast. It targets the natural resonant frequency of an object. It doesn't throw the book off the shelf. It makes the book vibrate until it falls on its own. But the most terrifying part? Apparitions. The shadow in the corner of your eye. The glimpse of a person who isn't there. We always dismissed it as a trick of the light, our brains playing games. The truth is worse. Advanced analysis shows Lithophaga domesticus can generate focused, high-energy electromagnetic fields. The working theory at Project Chimera is that these fields can directly interact with the human brain, specifically the occipital lobe, to create targeted visual and auditory hallucinations. It's not a trick of the light. The organism is projecting an image directly into your mind. It's showing you what it wants you to see. Section 4. The silent pandemic. The life cycle of this thing is what turns it into a planetary-level threat. It reproduces through a process we're just beginning to grasp, called resonant transference. When a mature organism is under the right kind of stress, it can create a highly complex packet of vibrations, a compressed blueprint of itself, and release it. This packet travels through the ground, through our interconnected city foundations, until it finds a nice, new, uncolonized building. Then it seeds the material, reorganizing its molecular lattice into a new infant organism. Our dense modern cities, with their shared foundations and infrastructure, are the perfect breeding ground. We've spent a century building a global incubator for an apex predator we never even knew was there. The implications are just staggering. We are not the masters of our domain. At best, we are symbiotic bacteria living in the gut of a creature we can't even see. The house isn't haunted. The house is the haunting. The findings from Project Chimera are still classified for one simple reason. How do you tell the world that their homes, their cities, the very foundation of civilization, are just the bodies of a parasitic life form? How do you tell people the very idea of shelter is a lie? This information is critical. The first step in facing a threat is knowing it exists. Official protocols prevent this from being released, but people have to know. You can help. Share this briefing. Talk about it. The more people who understand what's really living in their walls, the harder it will be for this to be ignored. Conclusion. Project Chimera is still running. The scans are expanding across the globe, and every new piece of data just confirms our worst fears. This isn't just in old, creaky houses. It's in brand new suburban developments. It's in the glass and steel of our proudest skyscrapers, and it's in the concrete bunkers we build to feel safe. The oldest fear is the fear of the unknown, but we're facing a new, more terrible fear, the fear of what we now know. The question is no longer, are we alone in our homes? The question is, what do the things we live inside want from us? They are ancient, they are patient, and we are locked inside with them, and they're waking up.